Distinguished delegates, the third Asian and Pacific Energy Forum is about to resume. We ask that you kindly please take your seats. Distinguished delegates, the third Asian and Pacific Energy Forum will commence shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, welcome back. We have agenda item 5 before us on the adoption of the Ministerial Declaration on building a secure, sustainable and interconnected energy future for Asia and the Pacific. At the outset, I would like to take a moment to recognize the chairs of the informal consultation on the draft ministerial declaration on building a secure, sustainable, and interconnected energy future for Asia and the Pacific. His Excellency Mr. Timur Amarsanna, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Mongolia to ESCAP, and Mrs. Kirtia Petsi, Acting Executive Director, International Affairs Division, Ministry of Energy of Thailand. Their strong leadership as well as the collaborative spirit of all delegations enabled us to complete the negotiations of the ministerial declaration on schedule. In this regard, I would like to inform delegations that upon successful conclusion of the negotiations on the outcome document of the Third ASEAN and Pacific Energy Forum, the draft text of the ministerial declaration on building a secure, sustainable, and interconnected energy future for Asia and the Pacific was placed under silence procedure with no objection raised. The draft ministerial declaration on building a secure, sustainable, and interconnected energy future for Asia and the Pacific contained in document SCAP/APEF3/L2 is therefore presented to the forum for adoption. Do I take it that the ministerial declaration can be formally adopted? I think it is so decided. If any delegations have the intention to make a statement in relation to the declaration, the floor is now open. I recognize the delegate from Vanuatu, Mr. Kemson Tebede, Climate Diplomacy Coordinator, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Vanuatu.
Chair, Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, the Republic of Vanuatu welcomes the strong declaration towards a sustainable energy future for Asia and the Pacific. Allow me a brief reflection, however, to highlight paragraph 10, in which there is a reference to, and I quote, cleaner fossil fuel technologies. Scientists from the fields of climatology, health, environment, and more have confirmed again and again that fossil fuels are not clean. Fossil fuels have multiple compounding, devastating impacts on the planet, the climate, the well-being of our communities, and our very lives. Because of this kind of unjustified narrative by the fossil fuel industry over decades, the people of the Asia-Pacific region are now facing existential risks, loss, and damage due to the climate crisis. In our view, there is no future for fossil fuels, no matter how clean they are claimed to be. It is a dirty and dying industry and a source of energy that must inevitably be phased out. With that, Chair, Vanuatu looks forward to fruitful collaboration with all partners to realize the ambition in this declaration for the benefit of our people and planet, and to reporting on our collective progress at the 4th Asian and Pacific Energy Forum in 2027. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Vanuatu, for your statement. As the ministerial declaration has highlighted the importance of involving young people in Sustainable Development Goal 7 and energy transition. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Amira Bilkis, representative from Youth for Energy Southeast Asia, Y4E ACA, to make a statement on behalf of youth group. Thank you. You have the floor, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. Honorable Ministers, esteemed delegation members, ladies and gentlemen. We are speaking on behalf of the young experts who took part in the Regional Youth Forum on SDG 7, which concluded on October 18 on the sidelines of this event. We thank UN ESCAP Secretariat, its Energy Division, and ESCAP member states for supporting us to organize it, inviting you to be an observer of this high-level event, and we appreciate the time given to express our insights. The forum brought together young experts and students from approximately 17 countries of the region and was designed to cover key energy issues and achievement in Asia and the Pacific. We held 3 sessions: a youth-led discussion on SDG 7 progress in the region, a design session on creating the Asia-Pacific Youth Expert Committee on Energy, an intergenerational dialogue with ESCAP professionals and member states policymakers. We discussed future steps to help involve us young people in the work of the United Nations in the ESCAP region to achieve SDG 7, including through the implementations of the ministerial declaration and youth inclusion in the development of regional and national roadmaps for SDG 7. Not only are youth an untapped resource, we are also one of the largest stakeholders in the ESCAP region, demand drivers, trendsetters of energy consumption, and however, we need to be nurtured and involved in the ongoing plans. We highly appreciate that the ministerial declarations has recognized the importance on youth. Going ahead, we call upon UN ESCAP and its member states to continue enable meaningful participations of young people in the United Nations activities on SDG 7 in the Asia-Pacific by increasing their engagement with youth-led energy organizations across the region to deliver recommendations on education, capacity building, and policies to support joint action. We believe this sits in line with objectives and modalities of ESCAP and the UN. To summarize, we call upon UN ESCAP and its member states to include the youth event on this 3rd APEF report and support continuous engagement of youth in SDG 7 implementation upcoming initiative and to find your endorsement to promote a culture of mutual collaboration, embed youth inclusion into energy decision-making process, and meaningfully contribute in achieving SDG 7 in the Asia and the Pacific. Only by then, actively working together, can we make our region more sustainable. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Bilkis, for your statement. Thank you. Let us move to the next agenda, item 6, adoption of the report. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, let us now consider the draft report of the forum. I have the pleasure to present to you the draft report of the 3rd ASEAN and Pacific Energy Forum contained in document ESCAP/APEF3/L1. The report of the forum contains 3 sections. 1. Matters calling for action by the Commission. Second, organizational aspects. And third, the account of proceedings. The account of proceedings will be prepared by the Secretariat after the meeting and circulated for factual corrections within a week of the conclusion of the meeting. This will be annexed to the report. I would like to inform delegates that language editing of the report will be undertaken by the Secretariat following the adoption of the report. In view of this, distinguished delegates are requested to focus on the substance of the report and to leave the editorial work of correcting any grammatical or typographical errors to the Secretariat. I also request those delegates wishing to make minor changes to the text to read them out at direction speed. With respect to any major changes, please provide the written text to the Secretariat so that they may enter it on screen for consideration by all delegations. You can see the draft report on the screen. May I propose that we go through the text of draft report with the aim of adopting it. We will now review the draft report section by section. Let us start with section 1. In section 1, are there any comments on section 1? As I see no comments, section 1 is adopted.
Because there's
I see no comments there. Let us start with section 2.
sections.
Are there any comments on section 2? As I see, no comments. Yeah. United. Yeah. I recognize the distinguished delegates of United Kingdom.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Your Excellencies. Just to flag at section E, paragraph 14 on other events, perhaps it may be made a little clearer as to why these specific events are labelled. So if they were the events that were co-organised by the Secretariat, perhaps we might make that a little bit more explicit to say that they were, just as our youth expert had earlier flagged an event that she would like to have been included in this section, and aware that there were many events that were organised with the fora, so it might make more sense to distinguish them a little clearer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. And Secretariat explains in detail. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, distinguished delegates from United Kingdom. Because the length of this report, so we can't put all the details here at the moment. But if you can just request what kind of details you ask, because I don't think we can put it here, probably annex or somewhere we can just reflect. But just let us know the details, what kind of details you request. Can you just explain a little bit? Or if you can send us in writing or the request, that would be clear, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we can send in writing. I think that the point was just on the sentence at number 14. It could just perhaps be made a little clearer as to why we're flagging these specific events rather than necessarily lengthen the report in any way.
Thank you. Thank you. I recognize the distinguished delegates of Japan. You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the floor. I strongly agree that we should include all of the side events that took place during this week, or at least during this meetings. Just counting, for example, in the side events page, there's at least more than double the number of side events that were held besides the one that was listed. So we would strongly urge to include all of them. And in fact, if you're already citing the 16th and the 17th, perhaps even in an annex, you can also write what was on the 16th and 17th as part of the APEF week. But at least at minimum, the side events tab on that website, I think should all be in there to do justice.
Thank you, Japan, for your comment. And Secretariat explains in detail about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, distinguished delegates from Japan. I think that's clear. So we will use that information on the APEF web and with the tab of the information just to add it here. Thank you.
Japan.
Sorry, just
You
a
have the floor.
procedural clarification. I believe this chair's summary of proceedings will be submitted to us for review, for comments, and then I guess a week later we will be submitting it. But will this edit also be done in a similar way? Or, I mean, we don't really see the what is going to be added and changed. So I was just curious about the process. Thank you.
Secretary, any response, please?
Yes. I think the factual checking, I think will be in that proceedings, and we will use the information on the web page and to reflect all the details. Thank you very much. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegates. Let us start with section 3. Are there any comments on section 3? If there are no further comments, section 2, 3, and annex of the report. As I see, no comments. As we have all reviewed all sections of the report, I propose that the report be adopted with editorial changes to be taken care of by the Secretariat. Are we all in agreement on this point? Okay. Distinguished delegates, as I hear no views to the contrary, I declare this report adopted by acclamation. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I thank you for your cooperation in adopting the report on the third ASEAN Pacific Energy Forum. Joining us for the closing, I welcome to the rostrum Ms. Lin Yang, Deputy Executive Secretary for Program of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. I now give the floor to Ms. Yang to deliver her closing remarks.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Ms. Armida Celsia Alicia Bana, it's my pleasure to say a few words for closing for the third Asian Pacific Energy Forum. This forum marks another milestone in regional cooperation on energy in our region. We have had 2 days of engaging discussions, suggestions, and ideas on how to progress the energy transition. We have agreed on a ministerial declaration, which sets out important direction to accelerate the work on SDG 7, energy connectivity, and the broader energy transition for SDG development. The declaration will be presented next year for endorsement at the 80th session of the Commission. Here, we should take pride in this extraordinary accomplishment. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, your efforts, your dynamic energy, and actions at this forum have underscored your commitment to sustainable energy and regional cooperation. It's very encouraging to see the continuous development of regional cooperation on this platform since its first forum was convened in Vladivostok in 2013. The enormous challenges in energy, climate, and sustainable development cannot be solved if countries face them alone. At the midway point of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, we have achieved much on SDG 7 goal, but significant hurdles remain. Therefore, regional cooperation is an imperative. As the only regional meeting on energy convened at the ministerial level by the United Nations, the APEF has emerged as the most prominent platform for energy cooperation. Although the path ahead is difficult, we should not underestimate our ability to change course on sustainable development with bold policy actions and a spirit of multilateralism and collaboration. As we know that we have the technology, we have the finance, and we have the solutions to do it. I would like to end with the words offered by the United Nations Secretary General at this year's Climate Ambition Summit. the future is not fixed. It's for leaders like you to write it. We can still limit the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees. We can still build a world of clean air, green jobs, and affordable clean power for all. I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to the Bureau of the Forum for its leadership, the skill for conducting the proceedings to a successful conclusion. I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our gracious host, the Royal Thai government, in particular, the Ministry of Energy, for its warm hospitality, great support, and active engagement at this forum. With this, allow me to thank all of you for making this journey to join us in Bangkok, and to those who have joined us online from across the region. Thank you for your active engagement. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, including our meeting staff colleagues and the interpreters, to make the forum a great success. I wish you all a safe trip home. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ang, for your concluding remarks. I would like to thank all delegates for the spirit of cooperation and goodwill that made this forum a success. My special thanks also go to other members of the Bureau for their able support. I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Energy of Thailand for graciously hosting this forum and for extending their exceptional support and hospitality to all delegates. I wish to commend Mr. Hong Peng Liu and members of his team for their hard work and through preparations necessary for convening this forum. I also thank them for their assistance, cooperation, and hospitality, which made us feel most welcome here in the conference room and also in the virtual hall. I also wish to thank all translators, interpreters, and editors for their hard work, as well as to many others who contributed to the effective servicing of this meeting. Thus, I would like to specially recognize all those from the Secretariat who worked behind the scenes to make this meeting session a successful one. Distinguished delegates, with that, I thank all delegations for the participation. We look forward to continuing this dialogue and discussing progress during the next ASEAN and Pacific Energy Forum. I now declare this meeting closed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Minister.